Hello my friends, welcome back to the channel. So today is going to be a video that popped into my head the other day when I was driving to work. I started thinking about how it's been for me every morning since VSG. I would wake up feeling like crap more than I would wake up feeling good and refreshed. As I'm driving to work, I'm thinking, man, today I feel really, really good. And I thought, I've felt really, really good for several weeks already. Like, I don't remember the last time I felt bad waking up. It clicked to me that that was a really big worry of mine. I mean, I know I was waking up feeling like crap anyways. I kind of felt in the back of my head like surgery was going to make it worse. And then it got me to think about the other things that had been circulating in my little brain that made me worry getting the surgery. And so I wanted to make the video and talk to you guys about that, because this might be something that you have yourself, some of these fears that you have yourself, some of these worries. I mean, it's not like I'm years out or anything like this, and this is coming from, old wise one, but I am freshly 2 months post-op, and already some of these misconceptions have just disappeared. This is just my experience in the process. So, bear that in mind. I just kind of already let you know that. I was afraid I would never feel normal. Like, I would wake up and feel dizzy every day or feel dehydrated every day. And that kind of blends in with what I was telling you earlier. Even though every day seemed bad and there were only a few days, it still was in my head that the surgery was just going to make things worse. And I would always feel depleted in the morning. And that's not the case. It is not. I wake up 100% better than I did before. Even on days that I forget to wear my CPAP. So that's an interesting thing. I do meet with my sleep medicine doctor at some point, and we will discuss if I need the CPAP anymore. Some people say I do, others say that I might not. So I don't know, but I wake up just ready to go. And that is very different. I mean, if I forgot to wear my CPAP, I would wake up very lethargic. My head would be pounding. I'd have a headache all day. And I would feel dizzy, a little disoriented, and then it turns into nausea and sometimes vomiting. And then worry number two was I will throw up everything. And you hear these horror stories of others that have had the surgery and they say they can't tolerate food and they just throw up. I can't eat that much. There's friends that I have that will eat and vomit and that have had the surgery. So it was definitely in my head that eating will not be normal. I knew to some degree, but that I could possibly be one of those people that vomit. And again, not the case. I will say, when you are switching into phases, purees, you're going to soft foods. Then soft foods, you're going to general, which is just like the normal foods. When you're going into all that and you're introducing all of these different textures into your system that has been like nothing inside of it for several weeks, yeah, you're gonna have some little vomities coming up, but it's not like you're going to have a full-on meal and you're just gonna vomit it back up. Again, I can't speak for everyone, but for me, it's not the case. Again, I really do pay attention to what I'm eating, how much I'm eating, what foods I'm eating, what that texture is, and what kind of helps me with the whole eating thing and to not get over the top crazy and have a moment where I vomit is envisioning my stomach. And this is all part of that mindful eating. It kind of helps me when I envision my little banana sleeve and I envision a dime size bite. Now the idea is to allow that space to go down, and so your bites kind of stack on top of each other little by little. You're allowing time for that banana sleeve to fill with your food. Now if you take in a huge bite that's like the size of a quarter and you just plop it on your newly healed stomach, everything is going to just kind of stack on top of itself. And that's when you start to vomit, because it hasn't even been able to reach the bottom of your little banana sleeve. It's still just kind of right here, and you're just stacking all of those bites on top of themselves. So really being mindful when you're eating. Envision your little banana sleeve. And I'm taking my dime-sized bite, I'm chewing it, it's going down, I'm giving it time to reach the bottom. Good, take your time. And then take in your next bite. So, and adjust depending on the kind of food that you're having. All right, number 3 for me. Number 3 was, of course, if you've been watching me, you know my history. I'm insulin resistant and I have PCOS. I had a little tiny doubt in my head that this surgery might not work because I have PCOS. Now, that was a very small doubt for me, but it was still a doubt that I had. When you have PCOS, you feel like you try so many things and you hit walls. You try medications, you try diet after diet after diet after diet. You try working out like crazy, and then you always end up gaining the weight back. And you always end up losing just a certain amount and then plateauing. Or sometimes you work your butt off and you don't lose anything. And what I can definitely say is this is different. This is a very different situation. A good portion of this, it really starts day 1 on your pre-op diet. The dedication that you have starts right then and there. And it's also just a really huge boost to getting you to lose this weight. So don't cheat when you're doing your liver shrinking diet. Cheat if you want, but you're really just taking away from the amount that you can lose when you actually have this tool in that first month. It's insane, mixed in with the diet that you just did, the liver shrinking diet, and then you jump right into just liquids. Full liquids, puree. It's just like it gives you this huge boost of success. Really, I don't feel PCOS did anything to that. You end up just kind of staying ahead of the game constantly. So your PCOS starts to correct itself, kind of, you know? I mean, we'll never get rid of our PCOS, but PCOS will go into a remission. So it's not like it stops you. It's almost like this tool comes in and starts to be ahead of the game while your PCOS is back here. And that's why I'm saying, when you do that weight loss, that liver shrinking diet, do it and dedicate yourself to it, because it's going to push you so much further in losing all of this weight, so you can distance yourself from PCOS. And as a result, I am reversing all of these things that PCOS caused. It also throws you into like this ketosis, because for the first month, you're not able to have any sugars. You're barely having carbs, and those are coming from vegetables, and mine were coming from like baby food. And you're very limited on any carbs and sugar. So your body throughout that whole month is kind of going into ketosis. And that helps so much just cut through all of that fat. So I will say that PCOS and this tool, the PCOS does not cancel it out. It does not cancel it out at all. What you end up doing is just having this tool that is just like bulldozing all of these other things and leaving that PCOS in the dust. Worry number 4. Worry number 4 was, maybe I'll lose too much or I won't lose enough. And this kind of ties into the PCOS thing. Again, stupid little worry, and they're both just kind of like this similar thing. So you're going to stress out that you're losing too much weight, and you're going to stress out that you're not losing enough weight. But these are the things that come into this little crazy mind. But now looking at it, it's like you are going to lose what you need to lose. And also it doesn't really matter, like if you go into this had a lower BMI. I went into this, my BMI was barely over 41. Just because my BMI was a little on the lower side didn't mean that this surgery wasn't going to help me. It came into my mind, you know, what if this low BMI, what if I lose like only 20 pounds? Or what if I screw myself and I end up losing like over 100 pounds, and then I'm really, really like emaciated? And like, I know it's only been 2 months, but the weight falls off very, very gradually. And I can only speak for myself from the lower BMI point of view. And that is, it doesn't just like rapidly just melt. And if it does, if you do, like I had COVID, I was down for 3 days, right? Well, those 3 days, I lost 6 pounds. And that to me was just a lot. Like, what ended up happening was my body just adjusted. And for the next couple of weeks, nothing moved. My body looked different, but the scale did not change. And so your body kind of knows when it's going into this mode of burning fat and it's lost a lot of weight. It's not going to put you into that state unless you're endangering yourself and not eating appropriately. I don't say like, oh, as long as the scale is moving downwards, I'm happy. Nah, screw that. The scale's gonna move up, the scale's gonna move down. It is the process. There are times, and it was right before I got COVID, where it was fluctuating. If it fluctuates, you guys. The whole thing is, if you follow everything, it's gonna be impossible for you to gain like loads and loads of weight in this short amount of time in the beginning. This tool is still regulating itself to work for you. If you do start to notice it's going up and then it's going up more and going up more, then really adjust what you're eating. Really look at it and see, what am I slacking a little bit on? You know, because your body is really, like I said, you go into like ketosis for the first month. So your body's good. It knows that it needs to burn this fat. So once you go on to eating that regular food, are you getting a little silly with it? Worry number 5, I think we're on, right? The final worry that I had is that I would just regret this. Now, I 100% do not regret this at all. The only regret that I have about this surgery is that I did not do it sooner. And I know a lot of people say that. And that is definitely the truth. If I knew I could have felt this way when I was in my freaking like 20s, 30s, right when things were just, you know, I knew I had PCOS. I knew it was getting bad. But there was always that, well, you know, just keep doing this. You just don't want to get pre-diabetic. But by the time I was 30, I was pre-diabetic. So if I just had this mental realization that I needed to depend on my resources, I needed to look for help, I needed to seek out other options other than yo-yo dieting and taking awful diet pills. If I knew that and how good that I feel now, I would have done this way, way, way earlier. And I know it just takes some time to get to where you're at. I mean, maybe if I had it done at a younger age, I wouldn't have respected it as much as I respect it now. There is that. I do know I'm mentally in a really good spot. I can wrap my head around the expectations of the surgery. And I think that that's kind of some of the struggles that maybe I would have had when I was younger. It's unfortunate that I got into my own head about things and did not do it. And I let other people, you know, tell me that I shouldn't, I don't need it, I'm not that big. And I just kind of went with it. It gets into your head where you start to feel like, okay, then it's shameful for me to even think about that. You know, what do I need to be getting that surgery? I don't need it because I'm not 600 freaking pounds. And really, it's not for 600 pounds. It's to avoid from getting to 600 pounds. It's to avoid from getting diabetes. It's to avoid all of this stuff. If you're younger in your 20s and your 30s and you have PCOS, I was diagnosed in my early 20s. This could have helped all of my fertility issues. I spent a good portion of my 20s and my 30s trying to have a baby, trying to figure out what was wrong with me. And figuring this out could have helped me in that time. Listening too much to what people think and other people's opinions and other people's fears, other people's, doubts. It probably won't work for you, or, whatever. You'll always have to be on medication. You'll be malnourished and take tons of vitamins every day of your life. Well, I take vitamins every day anyways, because that's how I roll. I don't mind taking vitamins. And to be honest, I only take 2 additional medications, and I'm only taking them for 6 months. So I go back to just taking my regular vitamins that I've always taken. So nothing has changed in that regard. To me, this is just kind of in the middle of my life. I spent a good 40 years of doing things on my own, and that did not work. I don't want to live the next 40 years of my life bringing those bad habits or bringing those old patterns into this. This is why I got the surgery, is to just kind of hit that reset button and see what can happen. Because regardless, I felt like I was going down a bad road. All of these blood pressure issues, all of these oxygen issues, I was not going to be living this lovely long life. I was cutting myself short anyways. So I saw this as, well, at least I tried, right? At least I tried. And that's kind of how I still feel about it. It has not proven anything to be dangerous to me. It has proven to not be the bad decision that people thought. It has proven to not be that it wouldn't work on someone that is my size or a lower BMI. It's also proven to me that I did need it, because it wouldn't be working as wonderful as it's working right now if I didn't need it. And you don't have to be 600 pounds to finally get bariatric surgery. That kind of just drives me crazy, because it's not like I'm promoting it or anything, but if you come to a point in your life where you're not living anymore, you're living to diet, you're living to have depression because of all of these other issues that you have with your weight and your mental state. It affects so much. And if you find yourself in a spot where you just kind of hit that wall, you do it for you and only you, because you are the only one that's living this life, right? No one else is going to live this life. No one else is going to feel the pain that you feel when you have to get up and walk, or when you're eating and you wake up in the morning and you feel like crap, or you're trying to hike up a hill and you keep losing breath. No one else is going to freaking feel that except for you. So why would you make a decision based on their opinion or what they feel is right for you? Nay, they don't get that. You don't get that decision. You don't get that right. So I don't regret not listening to other individuals. I'm glad I did not listen to them. And I'm glad I listened to myself and my body. And I did it. So that is my final worry that I no longer have anymore. I hope that this was a little helpful for you guys. I felt like I needed to say it just because it popped into my head, and it surprised me, and it really helped me see where I started and where I am right now, mentally, emotionally, physically. Looking at how some of those worries were just worries. They were worries, and they didn't end up being the truth in any of it. So I hope that was helpful. I will see you in the next video. If you would like to see more of these, let me know. If you have any questions, if you have any worries you want to talk about, comment, let me know. I love chatting with you guys, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.